All right, a very good evening to each one of you. My name is Shantanu Rana, and today I am going to take this session on solving guesstimates and puzzles in a job interview by great learning. So, whenever you go for any interview, be it your management interview or technical interview, there are some guesstimates and puzzles questions which are asked in all of these interviews. And today's session is all about tips and tricks that you need for solving these guesstimates and puzzles. But before we actually get into the depth of this topic, I want all of you to confirm in the chat box whether I'm clearly audible and visible to you. So if I'm clearly audible and visible, we'll directly start off with this session. So please let me know in the chat box whether I'm clearly audible or visible to all of you. Okay, I see Nick. All right. Faryad is saying yes. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for confirming. All right. Surya, Hari Kishan. Great. Perfect, guys. Arun Subramanian, Faryad, everything is perfect. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much. So I want all of you to be very, very interactive. All this entire session. We have set up the time for 1 hour, but it's very small, very simple concept. So what I want from you guys is you have to interact with me. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. I'm going to ask you a lot of things. So as soon as you'll confirm and you'll, let me know about those things, we'll just keep on moving forward and we will cover each and everything in this particular session. So let's directly move on, and let me tell you what exactly we are going to cover in this particular session. So this is the agenda for today's session, where we will be starting with the definition of puzzles and guesstimates, where it will not be about more like definition. I'll just be giving you an idea that what exactly is a puzzle and what exactly is a guesstimate. So let me just give you a brief intro of it. So whenever, let's say, you are applying for any marketing role, especially if you are applying for all these analyst roles, business analysts, other analysts, or maybe you are applying for any technical role, so guesstimates and puzzles are part of the interview process these days. There was a time when only the specific questions related to those skills used to the companies or the interviewers, recruiters used to ask. But these days there are case studies, there are puzzles, there are guesstimates that the interviewers can ask you in order to judge your skills, your logical reasoning skills, your problem solving skills, which are extremely important in the field of management as well as in the field of technology. So solving guesstimates and puzzles is one thing that you should definitely know if you want a job and you are going to apply to different jobs in future, or you are currently applying for that. Then I'll be telling you why are puzzles and guesstimates asked. See, whenever you try to do something, whenever you, let's say, before you get into why to solve a puzzles, how to solve a puzzle, what are the tips and tricks for that, you should know what exactly is the purpose of it. Why do companies ask for puzzles? Why do companies ask for guesstimates? What is special about puzzles and guesstimates? What are the skills that they want to judge? That is also something we will be covering. And then tips to solve puzzles, and then tips to solve guesstimates. What are some tips and tricks that I have? Those I'll be sharing with you. And then maximum amount of time we will be spending on solving some examples. So I'm going to give you some 2 3 examples for puzzles, and I'm going to give you one example for guesstimate as well. So guesstimate, if you know like one example also, the approach is going to be same. It is not about solving a lot of examples, but in puzzles it's exactly the opposite. So in puzzles, the maximum number of questions you are going to solve, that will give you more and more confidence. The same is true for guesstimates also, but the approach is same in whatever question is asked to you, whether it's in form of any guesstimate, the approach is going to be same. So our focus here will be on teaching you the approach and not on the specific example. So let's just move forward. First of all, let me give you a brief intro of what exactly is a puzzle. So a lot of you may not even know that what exactly is a puzzle. Whenever you're going for any interview, what kind of puzzles that the interviewer can ask. So puzzles are critical thinking problems, much like brain teasers, requiring the interviewee to rely on their lateral thinking and problem solving skills. So it's not like, if you'll solve one puzzle, you will be good in all the other puzzles as well. it depends upon your logical reasoning, the knowledge that you have related to that topic. It depends upon a lot of factors, and you can never say that okay, now I am perfect in puzzles, because it depends upon how many questions you are solving, what types of questions you are solving, and any question can be asked. But the main reason why puzzles are asked is the interviewer wants to check to what level, to what extent you can imagine things, to what extent you can use your brain in order to solve a problem. Because eventually, let's say you are a software engineer, so once you'll be hired in their organization, there will be a lot of business problems that you will have to solve. So how do you solve those problems? What is your style of solving the problems? How do you think about things? Do you think about some box of the out of the box ideas, or are you just thinking about some simple things? So that is something that the interviewer wants to judge, that is something that the recruiter actually wants to observe about your personality, and that's why they ask these brain teasers, or you can say puzzles, which is simply to judge your critical thinking skills, your lateral thinking skills. Now, what are guesstimates? So puzzles are more like, it can be anything, that how many squares are in this shape. It can be anything to which there will be a specific answer. But when you talk about guesstimates, there is no specific answer. As the name suggests, guesstimates is made up of two words: guess plus estimate. So certain things you will have to guess, certain things you will have to assume, and based upon that assumption, you will have to estimate something. It can be anything. For example, how many people in India today are wearing red shirt? Or I can ask you, how many airports are there in India? To these kind of questions, sometimes there will be a specific answer, but most of the times there is no specific answer. What is more important is what is your approach to solve these particular questions. So that's what guesstimate is all about. So guesstimate interview questions involve asking candidates to guess and estimate a number based on limited context and information. For example, if I'm asking you that how many airports are there in India, that is not like I'm not giving you a lot of information. I'm just giving you very simple and very small amount of information, and based upon that you have to assume certain things and you have to estimate. That is what a guesstimate is all about. Based upon limited information, you have to guess and estimate a number. So guesstimates require interviewees to combine logical thinking, general and background knowledge, mental math, and problem solving skills. So these are the skills that the recruiter wants to judge when you are solving a guesstimate. In a guesstimate, more than the actual answer you arrive at, an interviewer is more interested in the approach you take to arrive at the answer. It does not really matter that what exactly is the answer you are going to give at the end. Definitely there should be some sense check in that, there should be some logic in whatever the answer you are giving, but it does not matter whether it is completely true or not. Let's say I'm asking you how many people in India today are wearing brown shirt. So it's not a question that even I'll know. Even I do not know what is the answer to this question. And if the interviewer is asking you this, even the interviewer will never know that what exactly is the specific answer to this question. But he is asking you, or the she is asking you to know that what exactly is the approach that you take in order to estimate that particular number. So approach is more important than the final answer. This is something that you should always remember in case of a guesstimate. So I hope this thing is very clear, that what exactly is a puzzle, what exactly is a guesstimate. Briefly, to give you an idea about it, once again to summarize whatever I have told you till now, puzzles are nothing but your brain teasers. There will always be a specific answer, but there is no approach as such. It completely depends upon your logical thinking. It can be anything. It just depends upon how you use your mind in that situation and how do you conclude a particular answer. For a puzzle, sometimes there will be a specific answer and sometimes there won't be a specific answer. Generally, the puzzles which are asked in interviews, there's always a specific answer. On the other hand, when you talk about a guesstimate, it is made up of two words: guess and estimate. So certain things you'll have to guess, you'll have to assume, and certain things you'll have to estimate based upon those assumptions. The final answer is not the main thing when you are talking about guesstimates. The approach is the main thing. How do you reach out to that final answer is the main question that we need to answer whenever we are solving a guesstimate. So I hope you are clear that what exactly is a puzzle and what exactly is a guesstimate. Now moving forward, why are puzzles and guesstimate asked at the first place? Why are we even talking about it? Why can't we just, directly move forward and I can tell you, I can give you some examples? Why don't we do that? Why am I specifically talking about that? Why puzzles and guesstimates asked? See, whenever you are trying to solve anything, it's not just related to puzzles and guesstimates, it's related to anything related to your interviews or in general. If you're doing something and you know the purpose behind it, you'll always be better at that. If you do not know what exactly is the skill that the interviewer wants to check by asking you puzzles and guesstimates, you will never be able to deliver what they are expecting. But if you know the purpose behind something, you will always be able to deliver whatever the next person is expecting from you. So if recruiter is expecting a certain skill from you, certain things from you, you will be able to deliver that if you know it. And that is the main reason I am telling you what exactly is the purpose of asking puzzles and guesstimates in an interview. So let's move forward and let me tell you that guesstimates and puzzles have emerged as a really powerful tool to assess a candidate on the following four parameters. So I have written four parameters, or you can say four skills here, and the interviewer wants to check to what extent you know these four skills, to what extent you're good at these skills or you're bad at these skills. That is something that the interviewer wants to observe, wants to judge about your personality. And that's why the guesstimates and puzzles are asked. Number one is structured problem solving. See, everyone is a problem solver. Some are good problem solvers, some are bad problem solvers. So they want to check how good of a problem solver you are and how structured your problem solving technique is. When you are solving a problem, be it any business problem or any mathematical problem, how structured are you? Are you organized? Are you taking any logical assumptions? Are you reaching to a final answer? How exactly you are going about the problem? Are you structured or not? That is one thing that the interviewer or the recruiter wants to judge by asking you puzzles and guesstimates. Then second is logical reasoning. How logical you are. Let's say I'm asking you a guesstimate. So you will make some assumptions. Now I'll be seeing to what logic, what is the logic behind those assumptions. You will have to communicate the same to the interviewer. That is also one thing that I want to check, that how logical you are, whether you are giving some kind of consideration to facts and figures that you have, or you are randomly just thinking about the scenario and just giving a random answer. I want to see whether you are structured or not. I want to see whether you are logical or not. So these are two things. And third one is numerical capabilities. How good you are with numbers, because eventually in guesstimates or in puzzles you mostly have to play with the numbers. How are you playing with the numbers? How are you taking the assumptions? What things you are neglecting, what things you are assuming related to numbers? So your numerical capabilities is also something which is checked by asking you puzzles and guesstimates. Then last but not the least is communication skills, that a lot of people do not pay attention to. They will solve the guesstimate, they know how to solve the guesstimate, but they will never be able to communicate the same. There's no point of that. If you are in the business world, yes, let's say tomorrow you get selected in some company, you go to that company, but you can solve the problems, you can solve whatever clients problem you have, you are able to solve those business problems, but you cannot communicate the same to that person. What's the point of hiring you? There's no point, because if you can solve a problem, that is just 50% of the work. Next 50% is to communicate the problem, to communicate the solution of that problem to the client. So in order to see that skill, that how good your communication skills are, that is why they ask you guesstimates and puzzles, because when you are explaining the answer to guesstimates and puzzles, they can easily judge to what extent you can communicate something, whether you are effective in that, you are efficient in that or not. So these are the four main skills that the interviewer or the recruiter wants to judge about you when they ask you any guesstimates or puzzles. So always keep these four things in mind, and whenever you are answering, make sure you implement each of these things and you show the interviewer that you have all of these four capabilities. Number one is your structured problem solving, then your logical reasoning, numerical capabilities, and communication skills. So I hope you have got a very good idea about it till now. If you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat box so that I can start with some tips and tricks for puzzles and guesstimates, and then I'll be giving you a few examples as well. Alright, so whatever questions you will be getting, please put it in the chat box. Meanwhile, I'll give you some tips and tricks, and then I'll be looking at the chat as well. Whatever you want to ask me, any doubts related to interviews, related to puzzles, guesstimates, you haven't understood anything, just put it in the chat box and I'll answer those queries. right? So tips to solve puzzles. How do you solve certain puzzles in the interviews? That is something I'm going to tell you now. So number one is think about the problem. The one major issue is sometimes the puzzles which are asked to you will look very simple and you'll give an answer immediately, but that will be wrong. So always think about the problem. If you think that it is extremely easy, maybe you are not considering the factors that you should consider. So never, jump onto the answer immediately. Once a question is asked to you, even if it seems to be very easy, give it a thought, think about it, and then answer. Because there are some hidden things which you won't be able to figure out immediately. Once you'll give the answer, then you will find out that okay, you were wrong because you didn't consider this aspect. So never, give the answer immediately, think about the problem and then jump to the answer. Then ask for clarification. If the question is not clear to you, do not think that okay, you have to give answer. Always ask, always have those discussions. You haven't understood something in the question, because eventually you have to give the answer. It won't matter whether you are disturbing them again and again for question or not. What matters to them is to what extent, to what level you have given the answer. So eventually the answer will matter. So always ask for clarification. If you need any help, if you are not able to understand something about the question which is asked to you, always ask for clarification to the recruiter. Once the clarification is given, then think about the answer and communicate the same. Then use what you know. In puzzles especially, sometimes there are questions which are asked in certain specific areas. If you have any knowledge in that area, always use that knowledge. Whatever past knowledge you are having, use it, and then say the answer whatever it is. Explain your reasoning. Puzzles are not about that one question is asked to you, you spend some 5 minutes in your mind and then you just give an answer. It's not about that. You have to think about the answer loud. Whatever you are thinking, you have to communicate the same to the interviewer. If you are thinking that okay, I can do this, then I can multiply 2 with 3, 3 with 4, always be communicative about these things. Effective communication is extremely important when you are solving a puzzle or a guesstimate. It's not about just giving an answer. Think about it, think about it loudly, explain the same, give your explanation to the recruiter, and then finally give a final answer, then provide a solution. This is a 5 simple step. When a question is asked, don't simply give the answer. Think about the problem properly, then ask for any clarification. If you need any clarification, use whatever knowledge you already have, explain your reasoning, think out loud, and then finally provide a solution. Answering these types of interview questions correctly may not always be as important as how you go about solving the problem. As I already mentioned, sometimes your final answer will be wrong, but that does not really matter, because what they are looking forward to is the approach that you are taking. So always make sure you take them through the journey, that okay, that's how you considered the question, that's what you are thinking, that's why you are doing this. Always give those explanation, those reasoning to the interviewer. And even if you won't reach out to a final answer, that can be okay. Approach is what matters the most when you're talking about puzzles and guesstimates. All right, so I see a lot of students are saying hi, sharp and audible. Perfect, guys. I'm happy that you all can hear me properly. But if you guys have any questions, any queries, put it in the chat box again, and I will be answering. I hope there will be no queries till now, because the things that I have discussed are very simple. Once we'll start discussing the examples, that time you may have a few queries. But I'll be more than happy to take those queries. Just be very interactive in the chat box. Now coming to tips to solve the guesstimates. So first thing, as I told you, guesstimate is made up of two words, guess and estimate. But when I say guess, you cannot make random guesses. Let's say I ask you that how many people in India are wearing red shirt. I'm just stuck with this example. If I ask you this example, this question, that how many people in India are today wearing red shirt, and you give me an answer, let's say 140 crores, definitely it is wrong. So you always have to sense check your answer, and whatever assumptions you are making, always make sure that you are logical. You are considering the facts, because total population of India is around that, so not everyone is wearing a red shirt. So that cannot be the final answer. So always, whatever answer you are giving, sense check it. Whatever assumptions you are making, sense check it. So make educated guesses. The guesses should not be random. You cannot assume that, let's say, in one house in India there are 20 members on an average, because that will not be the case, right? So whatever guesses, whatever assumptions you are making in order to reach out to that number, make sure that those assumptions are good enough, are logical enough. Then always sense check your final answer. As I told you, think out loud. Don't just do the calculations in your mind and mumble out the final answer. Think out loud. Whatever calculations you are doing, always keep a pen and a paper ready with you. And whatever you're thinking, take the recruiter through that journey. Whatever you're thinking in your mind that we can do this, we can do that, always give those ideas. Whatever you're assuming, that let's assume this, let's assume that, always be very, very communicative about those things. Then there's a final note, that always remember that you don't necessarily have to reach an accurate answer. A lot of candidates, when they apply for a job and they are solving a guesstimate or a puzzle, one mistake that they do is they try to reach out to a final answer. And in order to reach out to a final answer, they don't pay a lot of attention to approach. So that is a wrong process. The main idea why a guesstimate is asked is the interviewer wants to understand your logical reasoning, your thinking, that the way you think, the way you try to solve a problem. So don't just mumble out the final answer. Think about the problem loud, give all the reasoning. It's not important whether you reach out to a perfect answer or not, accurate answer or not. What is more important is what exactly is the approach that you are taking. Are you considering all the aspects? How are you reaching out to that answer? That is more important in a guesstimate as well as in a puzzle, as I told you. So that is something you definitely have to keep in mind. So now I'm going to start with a few examples of puzzles. So in puzzles, there is no specific approach. We cannot say that each and every puzzle can be solved with this approach. Each and every puzzle is unique. Each and every puzzle will have something which will check a specific part of your personality. But when you talk about a guesstimate, almost all the guesstimates can be solved with one or two approaches. I'll be discussing just one guesstimate and you will be getting a good idea how to solve a guesstimate. But for puzzles, I'm going to give you some 2-3 examples so that you can just get a gist of that how to solve a puzzle and what kind of puzzles are generally asked in the interviews. So whatever puzzles I have kept in the slide, those puzzles are already asked in interviews. Some are asked in the technical rounds, some are asked in the for the marketing role or for business development role. For any role, the interviewer can ask you these questions, and I'm going to discuss each of those things, right? Perfect. So coming to the first question of the puzzle. Now you are in a one second. Yeah. So you are in a room that has three switches. This is the first example that we are taking for puzzle. Let's say you are sitting in an interview room. I want all of you to just, keep a pen and a paper ready with you in case you have to think about something. Always imagine, think from a broad perspective. Then only you will be able to answer these things. So this is the question, that you are in a room that has three switches and a closed door. So you are in a room, the door is closed, and there are three switches in the room. The switches control three light bulbs on the other side of the door. These three switches which are there in the room, the light bulb which is connected to these three switches is outside the room. You cannot see the light bulb. There is no hole in the wall. There's nothing like that. You will simply have to imagine a situation where you are locked in a room. There's a door which is also locked. There are three switches in the room, and those three switches are connected to three bulbs which are outside the room. So you cannot see which switch is connected to which bulb. Once you open the door, you may never touch the switches again. If you open the door and go out, you will never be able to come back to the door. You will never be able to come back to those switches. So it's a one-time opportunity. How can you definitely tell which switch is connected to which light bulb? Now I want all of you to think about it for a while, and then I'll be giving an answer for this. Again, those who have not understood, let me repeat the question. You are in a room where there are three switches. The door is locked for that room. Once you go out, you cannot come back to the room. These three switches in the room are connected to three light bulbs which are outside the room. So if you press on one bulb, you can never see that which bulb is on, which is not. There is no hole, there is no light in the room. You cannot see any way that which switch is connected to which bulb. You are in the room. Now you have to tell which switch is connected to which bulb in just one go. How will you solve this problem? I want all of you to think about it for a while. Now just imagine, you here you'll have to use a very simple logic. Number one, you can simply think of it that if you switch on you switch on one button and you go out, you will easily be able to identify that okay, this switch was on, and once you go out, you will be able to see that okay, this bulb is on. So that means that switch is connected to that particular bulb. Then second case, what you can do is just keep one switch off. Once you'll go out, that bulb will be off. You will be able to see that that bulb was off. So that was connected to that particular switch. Now what will you do for the third switch, which is the tricky part? What you can do is switch on one particular switch for 10 minutes and then go out. You will be able to see that there will be a warm bulb, and you can easily identify that since that bulb is warm, that means this switch was kept on for 10 minutes. And that's how you will be able to identify, or you will be able to distinguish between the three different switches which are connected to three different bulbs. To make it more easier for you, you can just read out this answer, that turn on. So there are three switches in the room. Turn on the first two switches, leave the first switch on. Turn off the second switch after 10 minutes. Don't touch the third switch. Now go through the door. The light that is still on is connected to the first switch. Whichever of the other two is warm to the touch is connected to the second switch, and the bulb that is cold is connected to the third switch that was never turned on. So that is a very simple example. There were three switches in the room and you just simply solved it. And once you hear this problem, you may think that okay, this is not possible. Or don't never ask these kind of things also, like is there a hole in the wall? Can we see what's happening outside? These will be very irrelevant questions. So when a question like this is answered, you always have to give it some time. Always take that time to think about the problem. So it is solved very simply. You switch on one bulb, you switch on one bulb for just a second, like for 10 minutes, and the other bulb you do not switch it on only. So you can easily make out the bulb which is warm is connected to the switch which was turned on for 10 minutes. The bulb which is not on is connected to the switch which was never turned on, and the bulb which is completely on till now is connected to the switch which is still turned on. So easily you can identify the three bulbs, that to which switch these three bulbs are connected. Now coming to the second problem, I hope you have understood that. If you have any doubts, put it in the chat box and I'll be more than happy to answer your query. The second question is that your parents have six sons, including you, and each son has one sister. How many people are in their nuclear family? Now again, I want all of you to think about it. So this is the kind of question, so if somebody will ask you, you will give the answer in just 2 seconds and you will think that you are right. But there are two tricks in that question which can make you wrong. Now what is that? First of all, you have to think that how many people are in their nuclear family. So initially the person is talking about how many children the parents are having, but they are asking for the number of people in the nuclear family. So always never make a mistake that okay, these many children they'll have. They're not asking for the number of children. They are asking for the members in nuclear family. What do I mean when I say nuclear family? Mother, father, and the children, including everyone. So again, read the question. Your parents have six sons, including you, and each son is having one sister. So how many people are in their nuclear family? I want all of you to, put the answer in the chat box. Whatever you're thinking about it, what do you think is the answer to this question? I want each one of you to put it in the chat box so that I can also understand that to what extent you know about these problems. The question is, your parents have six sons, including you, and each son has one sister. So how many people are in their nuclear family? Take your time, think about it. I'm gonna pause the screen for like 2 minutes. Think about it properly and then type out the answer in the chat box. Okay, Faryad is saying 9 members. Upendra is saying 9. Okay, I want others to answer as well. Right till now, two students I have got, Upendra and Faryad, and both of them are saying the answer to this question is 9. I want others to confirm as well. What do others think? Whether the answer to this question will be 9 or 8 or 7? What will be the answer to this question? Anything, guys, try. It's not that you have to be right. It's not a actual interview. You can just type out anything and I'll see, and then I'll tell you what exactly is the answer to this question. Okay, Alok is also saying 9. Perfect. I see a lot of people are actually using their logical thinking skills, which is great. And along with that, let me also remind you about one thing. The link is already shared in the chat box. You can go to any search engine and just search Great Learning Academy. So, Great Learning Academy, we have a lot of free courses that we provide. You can do those courses and you can get a free certificate. Those are very simple beginner level courses that you can do, whether you want courses in technology domain, public speaking, time management, to English, to your Java, Python, anything, management courses, human resources, marketing, digital marketing, Excel. Each and every course is present on our platform, Great Learning Academy, and all the courses are free for you. So go to that platform, make use of it, enroll for those courses and get your certificates. Right. So I see a lot of students have also already answered it correctly. So generally, when this kind of question is asked, the basic tendency is that okay, six sons, and each one of the sons is having one sister. So 6 plus 6 is 12, and then two, mother and father. So 12 plus 2 is 14. A lot of students will say 14, which will be wrong, because the actual answer, as pointed out by a lot of students, is 9. Why 9? Because two are parents, one is father, one is mother, then six sons. So 6 plus 2 is 8, and then there's one daughter. Because each son will have one common daughter. It's not like each son will basically be, will be having one common sister. It's not like every son will have a separate sister, right? So it's just one sister and six brothers. So total seven children, one mother, one father. So 7 plus 8 plus 9. So that's how it works. There are total 9 members in their nuclear family, with 7 children, one mother, and one father. I hope that is clear to everyone. See, just okay, same. Madhu, that is what I am explaining. So Madhu has written 14. That is what I'm saying. See, your parents has six sons, including you, and each son has one sister. When we are saying each son has one sister, that does not mean that each son will have a separate sister. That okay, there are 12 sons and 12 daughters. That is not how it works. If there are six sons and one daughter, then that daughter will be connected to each and every son as a sister. So that daughter is going to be common. So there will be only one daughter and six sons. So seven children, one mother, one father, total 9, not 14. It's not 14, Madhu. I hope I have cleared this for you. Alok, the answer will not be 7, it will be 9, because we don't have to find out the number of children. We have to find out how many people are in their nuclear family. And when we say nuclear family, we'll include mother as well as father along with the children. So the answer will be 7 plus 1, that is 9. Hope that is clear to everyone. Now moving forward to the next question, that there are six glasses in a line. Again, I would request all of you to pay attention to this and then answer this query as well. So there are six glasses in a line. This is very easy. Only the first three are fully filled with juice. The last three are completely empty. How can you move only one glass in order to rearrange the glasses in such a way that each full glass is followed by an empty one? How will you do that? You have six glasses. First three are completely full with your juice, and last three are completely empty. How will you move only one glass? This is the trick here. You cannot move more than one glass. How will you move only one glass in order to rearrange the glasses in such a way that each full glass is followed by an empty glass? So the final scenario should be that one full glass, one empty glass, one full glass, one empty glass, and one full glass. These six glasses should be like that in the final stage, and you can move only one glass. What will be the answer to this question? I want all of you to write it in the chat box. You can be wrong, you can be right, it does not matter, but please let me know in the chat box. Accordingly, I will be giving you the answer to this query, right? Right, I want all of you to write it in the chat box. Sindura, Satish, Faryad, Alok, Madhu. Good energy, guys. I want all of you to let me know what exactly do you think will be the answer to this question. If this question is asked to you in an interview, you can take your time, take 1 minute, and then answer. Move one full glass to the last. That will not solve the problem because there will be three glasses in that case. Upendra, this is not the right answer. If you'll move one full glass to the end, but we do not want it like one full one this. We want one full glass, one empty glass, one full glass, one empty glass. Like that. We need this alternative. So this will not be the right answer. Imagine the picture in your head. Anyone, I just want one right answer. Any one of you can, I'm very sure that you can answer this rightly as well. Just put the answer, one or two answers, and I'm gonna give you the final answer then. Again, read the question. There are six glasses in a line. First three are full, last three are empty. You can just move one glass so that there's one full glass, one empty glass, one full glass, and one empty glass. Right. Let me give you the final answer. So this is the scenario. See, initially we have six glasses. First three glasses are full. Last three glasses are empty. Now I am telling you, you just have to move one glass so that there is one full glass and one empty glass. So what you can do is just pour the juice from the second glass to the fifth glass, and you will get this scenario which was required. So what is the final answer? That take the second glass and pour juice from it into the fifth glass, and you will get an alternate from one full, one empty, one full, and one empty glass. Right, I think Nishant has got it, but you could not communicate it, Nishant, very properly. So this is very, very important. Once you think about an answer, then you have to, give the answer to that particular query. First of all, think about it, then communicate the same as well. So because when this question will be asked in an interview, so always, take your time, but give a clear idea that okay, we will take the second glass, we'll pour the juice from second glass to the fifth glass, and we will get the required scenario. Right, Sindura is also saying that move the second glass. But Sindura, again, this is half knowledge. Move the second glass. Where? You have to say move the second glass and pour the juice from it into the fifth glass. That will be the actual answer. Yes, this is also right way of saying this, Asif. You are right. Asif Sayyed is correct about it. Perfect. Right. So let's just move forward. I hope you have got a basic gist of it. So if you see, these puzzles are, different. We can't say that all the puzzles will have one way. So puzzles are very, very different, and the interviewer can ask you anything. It depends upon the interview, what they want to judge, what kind of skills they are looking forward to. So always make sure that you practice a lot of puzzles. If you know that the interviewer is going to ask you puzzles and all, so always practice a lot of puzzles. That can only give you confidence. But there is no specific approach that you can use. You should just solve a lot of puzzles which will give you a lot of confidence to solve that in the interview as well. But for guesstimates, there is a proper approach that we have, and I'm going to tell you that what approach you should use, and we will be doing all of that with the help of one simple example. Right, I see a lot of you have finally answered correctly. Yes, Satish, you are right. Abdul Rawouf, you are also right. Great. I am very happy that you all are giving right answers. Perfect, guys. I'm really happy that you all are interactive. Great. So now let's come to guesstimates. So now what I want from all of you is just take a pen and a paper with you. As I already mentioned in the beginning as well, keep a pen and paper ready with you and solve along with me. It will be more like a mathematical problem, and even in interview also, if these kind of questions are asked, the interviewer will always expect you to have a pen and paper ready with you. So these are not the questions that you can just think in your mind. Some people can do that, I can't. So I always keep a pen and a paper ready, and I will suggest the same to you. That will give you a clarity, because at the end, once you have to communicate the same to the interviewer as well, it will be very easy. Everything should be there in front of you on a paper, and you can easily communicate the same. right? So whatever I'm going to say, I will be very, very simple with my process. It will be a lengthy problem, a little lengthy, two slides I'll cover, but you don't have to, worry about anything. If you are not able to understand anything, put it in the chat box and I'll clear those doubts. So the question is, estimate the number of washing machines in India. This is the question. Very limited information. You just have to find out the number of washing machines in India. How will you do that? Now, it does not matter what is the number you are giving at the end. What matters is what approach you are taking. So, whenever a guesstimate is asked, there are generally two approaches that you can take. One is called a supply side approach, one is called a demand side approach. What do I mean by that? So supply side will be that if I start with that how many companies are there in India which produce washing machines, and from that end I start, that will be very difficult because I can never assume that these many companies are there for washing machines in India. That will be a very, very tough guess. It will not be a very logical guess. So what I suggest you to do is go with demand side. What do I mean by demand? That what is the demand of washing machine in India, and with that we can start with the problem. So that is always good because we always know that how many people are there in India, how many households are there in India. At least we can guess these things. We can assume these things with a specific number in mind. But we cannot assume the number of washing machine companies or the number of these kind of companies, number of different guesstimates will require different kind of knowledge. So if you know how many washing machines are there in India, you can start with that approach also. But if a random guesstimate is asked to you, I would always suggest you to start with the demand approach, which will make the numbers very, very simple. Your assumptions will be more logical and there will be higher chances that you will reach out to a final answer, right? So let's just start. So the question is, I want all of you to keep this question in mind. We have to estimate the number of washing machines in India. So there are only two things that we need to remember: number of washing machines, where in India. So let's just start. So we are going to start with the demand side, that what exactly is the demand of washing machine, and from that we will come to a final number, right? So first thing is total population of India. We are saying, let's say it is 120 crore. Now you don't have to assume exactly the same numbers. Always take numbers which are easier. You don't have to say it is 131 crores. A little bit here and there, it is fine, because eventually the answer is not the main thing. The main thing is the technique with which you are solving it. So first thing, we are saying that the total population of India is 120 crores. Now, for a fact, for a matter of fact, we know that not each and every person will be having a washing machine. Generally, a washing machine is owned by a household. A house will have washing machine, one washing machine. It's not like each and every person in a house will have a separate washing machine, right? So we have to find out the number of households in India. So what we are saying is the total population of India is 120 crores. To find out the number of households, divide it with the number of members in a household. So we'll just assume, let's say in one household in India, there are 4 members. You can assume it 4 also, 5 also on an average. So 4 or 5 you can assume. Generally, some people assume it 4.5 also. But I want to make the calculations very, very simple. So I'm simply saying, let's assume the total population of India is 120 crore. In one household, there are 4 members. So total number of households in India will be 120 divided by the number of members, that is 4. So total households will be 30 crores. So now we have reached to a very simple conclusion that there are 30 crore households in India. Now what we are going to do is we are going to divide these households into 3 scenarios: villages, tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and tier 1 cities. Now, we also know that in India, maximum we have villages, then tier 1 cities, and then tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So we'll say, let's assume that out of these households, 65% households are in villages, 15% households are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and 20% households are in tier 1 cities. Now it can be a little here and there also. It's not a specific number. These are just logical assumptions. Now I cannot take that, let's say 50% villages, 50% tier 2, tier 3 and 0 in tier 1. That will not be a logical assumption, right? So we have to take a logical assumption that, okay, we are talking about India. So in India, maximum population is in villages. So we'll say that, let's say 65% population of these households is in villages. 15% of these households are in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and 20% of these households are in tier 1 cities. So 20% of 30 crore is 6 crore, 15% of 30 crore is 4.5 crore, and 65% of 30 crore is 20 crore. So we have simply came to a conclusion till now that there are 6 crore households in tier 1 cities, 4.5 crore households in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and 20 crore households in villages. I hope till now everything is clear. If you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat box and then we'll move forward with this particular session. Please let me know in the chat box if you guys have any query related to whatever we have discussed till now in this question. So very simple, we assume total population of India 120 crore. Number of members in one household, we assume it to be 4. So total households we got 30 crore. Then we divided these households in villages, tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and tier 1 cities. So in villages we are saying 65% of households are there, 15% of this we are saying in tier 2, tier 3, 20% of this we are saying in tier 1 cities. So we calculated it, we found out we have 6 crore households in tier 1 cities, 4.5 households in tier 2 and 3 cities, and 20 crores household in villages. I hope till now it is clear. Please let me know in the chat box. If it is not clear also, just let me know in the chat box so that I can repeat the same thing. But I think I have already repeated it quite a few times, so it should be clear. I assume so. Alright, so Alok, I assume that this is clear to you. Thank you for confirming. Anybody else, any doubts, please let me know in the chat box. Nishant, I am unable to understand with 6 crore this thing. 6 crore approx. No, Nishant, don't come to the final answer now. We are just trying to solve it with a proper approach from the demand side. So I want till now if it is clear to all of you. We'll come to the final answer. Okay, let's just move. So I hope till now it is clear. We have got to this conclusion. So now again, we are going to divide these tier 1 city, tier 2, 3 cities and villages into 3 categories: poor households, middle class households, and rich households. Now we'll assume that in villages 60% households are poor, because the poor rate is more in villages and less in tier 2, tier 3, and then finally very less in tier 1 cities, right? And similarly rich case will be in tier 1 cities, maximum households will be rich, then less than that will be in tier 2, tier 3, and very few rich households will be there in villages. So that is a basic thing that we all know. So based upon that, we are going to say that let's say in villages 20% households are poor, 38% households are middle class, and 2% are rich. Then in tier 2, tier 3, we'll say 40% are poor, 50% are middle class, and 10% are rich. And then in tier 1 cities, we'll say 20% are poor, 60% are middle class, and 20% are rich. So again, this is also a very simple approach that we have taken, that in villages we have taken maximum number of households are poor, in tier 1 cities we have taken maximum number of households are middle class, which is the normal scenario in India, that maximum crowd is actually middle class. Now we are making 3 simple assumptions. What we are going to say is, let's assume that no poor household, be it in any city or be it in any village, no poor household is having any washing machine, and all the rich households, be it in village or be it in city, are having washing machine. So these are our first 2 assumptions. Then let's assume no poor class households have washing machine, be it in villages or be it in tier 1, 2, 3 cities, no poor class households will have a washing machine. Second assumption is all rich class households have washing machines, be it in villages or be it in cities. The number 3 is, now this is a little tricky, that 50% of middle class households have washing machine in tier 1. So we are saying that whatever middle class households we have in tier 1 city, 50% of that will have washing machine, 50% of the other half will not have washing machine. And then we are saying 40% in tier 2, tier 3 cities, but no middle class households will have washing machine in villages. I hope this is clear. So what we are saying is no poor class household will have washing machine. All rich class household will have washing machine. No middle class households in villages will have washing machine. 40% of the middle class households in tier 1 and 3 cities will have washing machine, and 50% of the middle class households in tier 1 cities will have washing machine. These are the simple three assumptions that we have taken. Now the remaining part is just the calculation. So in tier 1 cities, we are saying that no poor class households are having washing machine. So 0 into 20%, which is going to be 0. Then we are saying 50% of the middle class households are having washing machine. So 50% of 6% of 6 crore. That will be the middle class households which are having washing machine. And then we are saying all the rich class households in tier 1 cities are having washing machine. So 100%, that is all of 20% of 6 crores, and that will give us a number which is 3 crore. Similarly, we'll do it for tier 2 and 3 cities. Similarly, we'll do it for villages. So for example, in villages, we said no poor class households are having washing machine, so that will be 0. And we have also said that no middle class households are having washing machines, so that will also be 0. And we are saying we are saying all rich class are having washing machine. So 2%, that is 100%, all rich class, that is 2% of 20 crore, that will give us 0.4 crore. So 3 crore plus 1.35 crore plus 0.4 crore, which will be 4.7 crore approximately. So this is the final number that we are going to give. But generally, when a guesstimate is asked in an interview, the interviewer will not expect you to give a final answer. You just give them a basic idea about the calculation and the approach you are taking, and you will be good to go. Now I want all of you to okay, Sanik Mishra is saying yes, continue. Ashish is saying repeat, sir. Ashish, please let me know which step you haven't understood. I hope this problem is very clear to all of you. If it is not clear, you have time, please put it in the chat box and I will be more than happy to reply. Right? Again, to summarize this entire problem, let me first give it a minute or so that you can sink in whatever is written on the screen. I'll be silent for a minute, and then after that I'll summarize this and then I'll take your queries. Is this clear to everyone? Please let me know in the chat box. Yes, Upendra, the final answer is done. Thank you for confirming. Okay, so this is the final answer that we have reached out to 4.7 crores. Let me summarize this for all the students who may not have understood it. So the question was estimate the number of washing machines in India. So we started with the demand side, that is from the population end, that this is the demand of the washing machine. So first of all, we said that the total population of India is 120 crore. Then we assume that in one household, let's say there are 4 members. So the number of households in India are 30 crore. Then we divided these households into tier 1 cities, tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and villages. We said 65% of these households, which is 20 crore, are in villages, and then 15% of these households, which is 4.5 crore, are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and 20% of these households, which is 6 crore, are in tier 1 cities. So what we said is in tier 1 cities we have 6 crore households, in tier 2 tier 3 cities we have 4.5 crore households, and in villages we had 20 crore households. So this was the first thing that we did. Then we divided this into further 3 classifications, that is poor households, rich households, and middle class households. So we said in villages 60% households are poor, 38% middle, and 2% rich. In tier 2 tier 3 we said 40% are poor, 50% are middle class, 10% are rich. Then in tier 1 cities we said 20% are poor, 60% are middle class, and 20% are rich. So once this is done, you can assume it. Let's say you are not taking 20% poor. You can assume 18% poor, 15% poor. It depends upon how you are thinking in that particular situation. So number is not the main important thing. The approach is the main important thing. So I had taken these numbers. Then I made three assumptions. Number one, that all the rich class households, be it in village, be it in cities, they are having washing machine. All the poor class, nobody is having washing machine. All the rich class are having washing machine. These are two simple things, which is very common also, that poor class households generally do not have washing machines, and rich class households, they generally have washing machines. So we are saying all rich class, be it in villages, tier 1 2 3 cities, they will all have washing machines. But in poor class household, be it in villages, cities, tier 1 2 3, nobody will have washing machine. In middle class, we are saying nobody who are in middle class households in villages will have washing machine. 40% of tier 2 and tier 3 cities middle class households will have washing machine, and 50% of middle class households in tier 1 cities will have washing machine. These are three assumptions that we had taken, and then we calculated based upon that. So for poor, it is 0, because we have assumed no poor class households are having any washing machine. And for this one, the rich class, we are taking 100%, because we are assuming that all rich class households have washing machine. And then for middle class, we have taken 50% in tier 1 cities, so it is 50% of this number. Then in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, we have taken 40% of middle class, so we are saying 40% of 50% of 4.5 crore. And in this one, villages, we are saying 0, nobody in middle class households is having washing machine, so that is also something we are taking as 0. So it gives us 3 crore plus 1.35 crore plus 0.4 crore, which gives us 4.7 crore. And if you sense check this answer also, if the population of India we are assuming to be 120 crore, it is quite a feasible answer. So this is right, this is not wrong. Hope this is clear to everyone, right? So we still have 3 minutes left. If you guys have any question, any queries, please put it in the chat box. And along with that, I would request all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Great Learning YouTube channel. We keep coming up with these topics related to interviews, resume building, related to your interview etiquette, part dressing, technical rounds of interviews. And there are so much of so many courses, content is there on our YouTube channel. So there are courses related to product management, project management, marketing, human resources, change management to Slack project management. Each and everything is there on our YouTube channel. Whatever you want to search, time management, project, product, Python, Java, C++, everything is there. So make sure you subscribe to our channel, and you will also be able to part of these, all these the live sessions that we keep coming up with, or all the videos that we keep uploading. So to be a part of all those things, it is very, very important for you all to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon, right? Sindura is saying thank you, sir. I hope this is clear to you, Sindura. Alok, no comments. Thank you, everyone. So you all can please, let me know in the chat box whether it is clear to you all or not. If there is one specific thing which is not clear to you all, I would be more than happy to answer. Just let me know in the chat box. Otherwise, after 2-3 minutes, I'll just wind up the session. Okay, Alok is saying thank you, sir, bro. Okay, thank you, Alok. Thank you so much for attending the session and being very, very interactive throughout. Thank you. Nishant, Upendra, I hope everything is clear to you guys as well. Please let me know in the chat box. If there's any doubt, any small doubt, let me know. I would be more than happy to answer. Ashish is saying thank you. Upendra is also saying thank you. Great, guys. So I hope everyone has understood whatever we have discussed. So whenever you're going for any interview now, be it any management interview or technical interview, make sure you prepare for the whatever guesstimates and puzzles you have. There are so many guesstimates and puzzles you can find on different platforms on internet. Just go through those puzzles, go through those estimates. The approach is going to be same. For puzzle, each and every puzzle is different. You cannot say that okay, there is one approach that we can use in all the puzzles. Each and every puzzle will be unique and will be different. So you just need to practice. But when it comes to estimate, even if you solve two estimates by properly understanding it, so there are two approaches, as I told you. One is supply side, one is demand side. We have done the query with demand side approach, and I would request you to do the same if you do not have any idea about the particular area about which the question is asked, right? So that's how you solve puzzles and guesstimates in a job interview. I hope I have helped you with that. Thank you so much for attending this session. Thank you, everyone.